been playing with this idea in my head for a long time. I've always been a big fan of France and Paris in particular, and wondered what it would be like to live here. And so that was sort of the germ of the idea of what it's like to be an expatriate somewhere. And I did spend some time here, and from the time I spent here, I thought there's an idea here for a show. In this particular case, it's a real fish out of water story about a girl who inadvertently takes this job out here for the luxury goods French marketing firm, but she's a real fish out of water. She wasn't intended to come here. And I thought it was a good time for a show like this because I feel like America, we're so inward looking, you know, and I thought it's a great time to kind of like live vicariously through a character who is sort of taking those risks of being in a foreign country. I think Paris is so beautiful. I mean, it's just, you know, maybe the most beautiful city in the world. And as a setting for a show, just sort of visually, it's an amazing place to film. It's an amazing place to spend time. And I think it's like kind of also just the values and the mentality are different than they are in the States. And it's a little bit more of a Latin culture that the importance is on living well. And I think our importance at home is so much on work and striving, and I think that's important to them also, but I think the art of living is also really important. I think that's one thing this character learns about, is how to sort of smell the roses a little bit. Definitely culture classes, and I think she's Lily plays a girl who is really a go-getter, an achiever, and she's thrown into a world where certainly that's a priority, but not the only priority. And at the same time, she really is struggling to get by in the language and not reading all the cultural cues correctly. But I think it's a real, it's about this character, about her just sort of like growing from this experience. And I think travel is so expansive for anybody. And so I think that's really so much of what this show is about, how she changes, how the culture changes her, and also how she affects the people around her. And it's really like a cultural exchange in that sense. I did not have anybody in mind, but Lily, through her manager, came to my attention, and I met her, and of course I fell in love with her. And she was just kind of perfect for the role. And I think people will see a different side of Lily than they've seen before. She's really a terrific comedian. She gets to really show her personality. I think she's done so many dramatic roles, but in this case, she is really light and funny, and I think she just got this incredibly joyful spirit that comes through. So important to cast the right person, and I think when you have that right actor, it just sort of becomes this, like, I learn from them. I think I see what they can do. And they bring so much to the role. Also, women are also so expressive about how they feel, and they're more verbal, and that's why I love writing female characters, because they really just kind of say what's on their minds. They express themselves. They're not, and I think they have like such great self-awareness. I feel like TV is going through such an amazing transformational time right now, and where HBO was at one time sort of the main game in town, I think there's so many opportunities for writers, creators, and also just for the audience. I think the amount of wonderful product being made is just off the charts, and it's just sort of, I think the idea of what a TV series is expanded, and I also feel like I think the audience's response to to what's out there, to the shows that are out there, I think really has the networks wake up, because they're looking at it and thinking, well, it's not a niche audience, it's the audience, and they're responding to really intelligent programming and complicated and I think it just creates so many opportunities for writers.